Moving on to the wooden spoon, we're going to start this guy out with the center line running down the middle. So again, these guys are all 2 inches. We're going to start with the cupped part of the spoon. So outside radius, nothing new here, is 1. So this entire curve here has a radius of 1. The inside kind of cup that we're going to carve out has a radius of 13/16. Now we're actually going to sketch out 2 circles here. First circle, the center point will be 1 inch in from the edge. The next circle that we're going to sketch out, the center of it is a 1/2 inch over or to the left. So first we'll set our compass to 1 inch, sketch that outside curve. I just marked where the compass was placed because that's our first center point. Now we need to measure over a 1/2 inch for the next center point. I'm just going to transfer a line from now there really shouldn't be this little I'm just going to strike a line from here to here, reminding myself that I'm not actually going to cut that little indent, right, because we want to keep this an oval. Now let's sketch the inside circles. Those guys have a radius of 13/16, so just over 3/4 of an inch. And we're going to connect the outermost edges of the circle with a line. I'm going to call this the start of the neck of our spoon. So the neck kind of comes down to its skinniest point right here. And that skinniest point is about a 1/2 inch. And that point is exactly 3.5 inches from this edge right here. So I'm going to go 3.5 inches, put a tick mark. Then I'm going to strike a 1/4 inch line on either side of that point. Perfect. Now we get from the cupped part to the neck with a radius of 4.5. So that's what we're setting our compass to. Now draw the line from the kind of the base of the neck, the skinniest part, to the end of our spoon. We actually need to draw the end of our spoon. This guy should have a radius of 7/16 or something, a circle with a diameter of 7/8. So it's probably best to take one of these guys, find 7/8, line it up on our line, and then trace that circle. Because messing around with small diameters, radiuses with the compass is super annoying. So we're just going to use this guy. Beautiful. Next, we're going to draw a line from here to the outsidemost portion of our circle. Next thing we need to do is mark the center of this circle. Again, the radius is 7/16, so the center of it is just going to be 7/16 in from any point of the circle. Just line that up, 7/16 there. Now, if you don't like this layout, you're welcome to tweak it, make it wider or thinner. It's really up to you, but this is a good place to start. Now, the first thing we're going to do in carving out this spoon is actually make the cup, sort of the indented part. When you clamp this guy in your vise, don't clamp it so tight that you're going to crack the wood, because you can and you will. Clamp it in there just tight enough that it's going to hold it steady. Now we're going to carve out that little cup with this guy. I've heard it called a bowl gouge or a fishtail gouge. It doesn't really matter. It's a curved chisel. It's real sharp. Now before I show you how to use it, know that we're really not taking off a whole lot of material here. Your board's pretty thin. We're only going down about half of its thickness. So that's really just going to be a couple scoops of this. So just be aware of that. And Here we go. I'll show you how to use it. Most tools like the file and the block plane, we're used to moving our arms a lot. With this tool, we're making literally like micro movements, really tiny movements. So that being said, our arms are always going to stay close to our body. You might hear me say T-Rex arms. T-Rex arms are really short, really tight to their body. That's how I want your arms whenever you're using this guy. They're nice and tight, close to your body. Now all of the power and the movement comes from your dominant hand. In my case, my right hand. My left hand is on that blade. My left hand's there as a brace. It sort of holds back my body or the power from my right hand so that I don't accidentally send it forward. Now we're actually gonna have to hold this guy at a pretty high angle compared to our workpiece for it to actually cut. See, right here, nothing is cutting because the blade isn't actually touching the wood. It's not until I get to about right here that the blade actually catches on the wood. So now that we're gonna have to raise this guy pretty high up, and you're not just pushing it forward. You're actually gonna push it forward and do a little like quarter twist with your right hand. So this is all that's happening. And if I'm being honest with you, most of my power is actually coming from my legs and my body, because when that wood does finally give, I can catch myself, whereas if I was just using my arm and it slipped, I'd be sending it forward in an unsafe manner. So I got this guy real close to my body. I'm raising it up. I'm gonna feel that blade kind of catch on the wood. Then I'm gonna push forward, rotate, like that, and I'm also kind of scooping like a bowl of ice cream. So many movements are going on here. I'm pushing forward, I'm rotating, and I'm scooping all at the same time. Here we go. I'm actually going to start in the center. All right, push forward, rotate, scoop, forward, rotate, scoop. Now, if you feel or see a lot of splintering, don't go so deep, right? Just take off a little bit at a time. If it takes you all class, that's perfectly okay. But let's get the middle of the spoon down to its kind of close to final depth, and then we'll carve the outside of the cup down into the middle. And you can kind of go diagonal to the grain here. You don't always have to go with the grain. It should be sharp enough that you can even go against the grain. Is that not satisfying? Now that's actually as deep as I'm going to carve in the middle. You can take 2 fingers and kind of pinch your wood and see just really how thin it is. We're not taking a whole lot of material off here. So next, my job is to basically connect this line right here to the middle with my chisel. So I'm just gonna work my way around, taking away small little chips at a time, trying to work that edge to the middle. When you are cutting across the grain, it's really important to get that rotating motion in, because if you just push, you're just asking for tear out. Now you're almost always going to have some amount of splinteriness, fibrousness, or like tear out in here. Don't go on trying to chase it, because you'll end up carving through your board, you'll have to make a really short spoon. So know that a little bit of kind of splinteriness is okay. We'll be able to sand that out. Now how are we going to make this guy smooth? Well, we're going to get a racquetball, and we're going to find some sandpaper that's just about at the end of its life cycle. Do not get new sandpaper for this, because this is going to ruin it really quick. So get some stuff that's already just about dead. We're going to wrap it around our racquetball, and then we're just going to sand it like that. Now, this is a good method to start your sanding, but there's going to be some stubborn places that you just won't be able to get to with this guy. So once it's somewhat acceptable, then we got to go in there. Again, don't use new sandpaper for this. Get some stuff that's just about dead. Hold it in your thumb or any finger really, and just work those stubborn areas. Try to get any of that fibrousness out and get it nice and smooth. And if you want to, you can even go against the grain here, right? We're not to like finish sanding yet. We're just trying to make this look decent. And if you find your lines are starting to fade, just go back over them with pencil. That way we don't lose them. Once you have it looking reasonably smooth, congratulations, you got the most difficult part of this thing done. Now it's just cut it out, round over the edges, sand it, put a finish on it. Now to make this guy look actually more like a spoon, the cup is on this side. We need to round over this back. So really this entire edge right here, we want to give it a nice good round. Almost try to match the curvature on the other side. Now if you don't support this side, there's gonna be a lot of like chattering. It's gonna make a loud noise. That kind of vibrating sound is what we'd call chatter. You can prevent that by supporting this guy and then filing. See, it's a lot quieter. It's going to be a lot more efficient as well.